Good evening and welcome to Maria's Taco Express.
Yay!
Yay! January 14th, 2014. Happy New Year. We made it. We made it through the holidays.
Yeah.
And it's not quite as cold as it has been on other evenings. So we are enjoying the almost spring-like weather we've had today. If we just had a little green on the trees, it'd be more spring-like, but that's coming next month.
Yeah, legal.
Usually by the middle of February, we start greening up around here. I know it's obscene, but that's what we do. Okay, well, I think to start things off, we need to start with Tom, the world poet.
That was my fabulous friend here, fabulous furry friend, Mr. Scott Lanyard. He needs a chair. He needs a chair. Wow, it's so nice to see all your fabulous tables and chairs here. Without you, we wouldn't have a leg to stand upon. I was talking to my favourite chair just the other day, and it's a chairperson, you know, just sort of like, it used to be a chairman, but that's sexist. So, chairperson, I said, what is your meaning in life? And the chair just sat there. And I realised then that words are only good for human beings. They don't do any good for chairs. I tried talking to the chairs. Do you think that chair would listen? No way. It was what you might call a non-sentient plastic sort of existence, which in itself has a certain equality equivalent, but when it comes down to it, I'm talking to human beings. Shall we start?
No, I'll get there.
He's just working there, okay?
Okay, go for it.
I was...
Okay. There.
My friend is from South Africa. He talks apartheid. He sees things in black and white. I'm from Australia. I'm a coloured man. I see things in colours. The green of the rainforest, the crush of a white wave, blue sky talking to the blue beaches, and the white sands that stretch away today. People say there is no white. I say there's shades of grey. Not just 50 shades of grey, no, 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 no. Many shades, like right, wrong, maybe, indifferent, cynical, affirming, all these shades. Well, one time when you find yourself caught between what you feel and what you think, it's a dangerous little gap, but many of us get positive there. A feeling comes through, like you feel you've got to get to Taco Maria's, you've got to get there. When your car stops, it will not start again. It sits in the middle of slaughter, it makes a meditation. I'm on slaughter. What does that mean? Well, maybe 40 minutes ago I was on slaughter in a car that did not work. And I thought to myself, I really want to get to Taco Maria's tonight. How, by astral projection, can I take this time-space corporeal dimension and get myself there? The car said no. In fact, the car said nothing. The car would not start, the car would not go, the car just said nothing. Well, I thought if I can't talk to the pieces of machinery, I'm going to talk to a human being. So I borrowed a cell phone, I told AAA and I said, I got a heap of junk here, will not move today. And AAA said, well, we'll be there in 3 hours or less. I said, no, you don't understand, I'm in the middle of the traffic of slaughter. And if you understand metaphor, I'm being slaughtered by the traffic. And AAA have a sense of humour. They said to me, well, we'll get there within the hour. I said, no, you don't understand. I've been trying to communicate, but people understand. I'm in the middle of the traffic on slaughter, and I'm afraid they're going to do their metaphorical deed upon me. What's that? Hit me, crush me, knock me, make me smaller. I don't want that. I want to be big in a beautiful world. I want to grow. I want to be mobile. I want to get to Taco Maria's tonight. Maria's Taco Express, as some would say. However, I managed to find a human being on AAA. And she said to me, we'll get there straight away. So within 15 minutes, this great big truck comes up with a tray upon it. Says, what's the problem? I said, my car and the traffic. There's two problems. Can you do anything about the traffic? He said, he laughed. He said, no. I said, can you do anything about my car in the middle of the traffic? He said, yeah. I said, well, let's do something then. Let's hold up all the traffic and shift your big truck and take my little car. And that way the traffic can't do anything to us because we're doing stuff to the traffic. And he got the point of it all. And he put my little car slowly on a chain drive off the back of this AAA truck, and it's up at the top there, and there's traffic all over slaughter, and there I am feeling victorious over the physical environment. They cannot kill us. There's nothing they can do to take our life away from us. First they must attack our machinery. They say your starter motor doesn't work, it won't work, the car won't start. And finally I say, it's only a machine. The machine doesn't do poetry. The machine is not poetry. You are not your computer. You are not your typewriter. You are not your guitar. You are not your mind. You are the flower of art in this time and space. And because you made it to this sacred place, we can all chill together, especially as it gets cooler, and say to ourselves, well, I guess I finally made it. I made it to Taco Maria's on Sacred Tuesday, on the first open mic of 2014. And that was today. And you are here. And nobody can deny it, no matter what they say. Freedom of speeches, long-winded and tendentious. Freedom of assembly. Freedom for everything except cars that won't go. Put you in the middle of a slaughterhouse. So I digress. I'm very, very happy to see the 5 smiling faces in a semicircle around us. It's like a living warm fire of what's left of the human race. So let's take our positions, ladies and gentlemen. The show has just begun.
Hey, Tom.
Hey, Chris.
And Scott, would you like to do your turn now?
I'm gonna.
Is okay. All right. Well, the next is David Lester Young. He's young at heart.
Yep.
And you can do your part if you are among the very young at heart. Fairy tales can come true.
Something I wrote today. Petrified world. Overcast gray, uniform density in endless sky. In a mirrored million-year-old reflective lake. Every direction sharing cemetery gray looks. Volcanic edges with inside depth dark gauges. No evaporation, no hydration, no movement. Stagnant liquid molecules within suspended animation. World isolated and barren showcases motionless time. Never blossoming nor even wilting to compose residue. Until one day a flaming hot meteor hit dead center. As ripples did spread across the still lake, meteors sizzling water to steam seeding the gray cloud, while waterfalls did fall over those hibernated sides. As skies awoke with thunder, the sky did electrify gray, while petrified eight stone did crack open fertile seeds. In a million-year-old space desert blossomed forth anew, that this drought was over and spring could be recycled. The gray did scatter rain across the terrain of this enriched world, where one now sees from outer space the lake rippling reflections, where now stars dance upon moving water, recycling germination. In what was a phoenix petrified world, now sprouts forth reincarnation. Thank you.
Benjamin Franklin, David Lester Young, everybody. Yay! Well, we have a treat tonight. Someone who hasn't been with us before. That she hosts her own music open mic at Freddie's on South 1st Street. And it's a little bit early. It's not February yet. But it's a good time to send out your Valentines. And here's our Valentine, Jessie Valentine. Yay! Feel free to use the other one as well.
This is the ukulele in my pocket.
Oh.
And I am happy to see you.
A new one.
You're gonna play it
Oh yeah, this is my Christmas present.
Oh, nice.
So you're on Facebook. Fun, do it more.
Okay. Oh, look at this
Yeah.
microphone has a little flip thing on there. Maybe that'll work. Oh, we'll see. Nope.
The paper chase.
Can I still chair?
Yeah.
You can have as many chairs as you want.
There we go. That'll work much better. Okay, I just wrote these songs, so I don't have the words memorized yet. Her lips are red as dawn, her hair is black as night, her heart is made of stone and it is cold as ice. She dwells in bars and the moonlit street. When you meet her into your heart, she'll free. She's a temptress of the word, her sword. She wants your soul and cares nothing for your heart. Her lips are red as dawn, her hair is black as night, her heart is made of stone and it is cold as ice. She sings her song, puts you under her spell, and before you know, she will drag you down to hell. Oh no. In the underworld, well, she is the queen, but make no mistake, she's a nightmare, not a dream. Her lips are red as dawn, her hair is black as night, her heart is made of stone and it is cold as ice. Her poisons flow through your veins. She tempts you with pleasure and enslaves you with pain. Beware of the vamp and heed my words well, or
Jessie. Yay, Jessie. Welcome, welcome. And Sylvianne is back with us.
I'm not very good at holding.
Right here. Where do you prefer to sit?
Yeah, that's better.
There you go.
Okay, two short ones. I'm Sylvianne Murray, and I'm the real one.
Oh yeah, it's not the other one.
Yeah, they have an impersonator now. Okay. Have you ever heard the voices of the people in the elevator moments before it stopped, empty on your floor? Or seen the figure of a person not actually there? Do you know the presence of the lady who lived in your space, who passed in quiet grace? Listening to the voices around, surround, wondering what people do to carry on, feeling the peace of the winged ones brush me gently, wondering at the lightness in heaven, sliding, slipping into the rainbow, one day to fly free. Have you ever wondered why? Have you ever just known? Let me do one more. The world kaleidoscopes, and I shift, comfortable with the sliding. I see the shadows moving, knowing they aren't in our world. Glancing around the corners no one should see. Feeling not alone. Knowing the truth has layers not explained. Walking in a reality not real. Knowing I am here for this. Somehow the message, multidimensional, comes through my fingers and will be released.
The real Sylvianne Murray.
Yeah.
Yay!
I got kidding.
There's a Sylvianne impersonator around somewhere. We need to catch them.
Well, she's not real, but she's my name.
Well, Scott skipped his turn earlier, so here is Scott. Vanya!
First, I'd like to tell a little story. Very brief, if I can make it brief. I had to spend it for a long. But I was laying on my couch earlier today, loving myself as I like to do on my couch, and nothing odd about that, just a sense of comfort. And feeling loved, and knew that there had been other times in my life when I was loved, and I thought back to years long ago in high school and told myself, refresh my memory, tell me something new that you've loved, a place where you felt loved. And it was this place with these people. And I said, well, you know what love feels like, you know what you want to do, so go to Maria's Taco Express and share some of that love. And that puts me in mind of this song. Went to the courthouse yesterday, got called for jury duty. No, they didn't much like to hear what I had to say, as is oftentimes the jury duty. So in the course of that day, I spent quite a bit of my time walking across this fair city of ours, from one place to another. Went home, had tired feet. Knew this morning that the most poignant part of that whole experience was that we don't really know what our capacity is until after we've overflowed it. Reminds me of other nights when I've curled up on my couch after the long day's gone by and feast on chocolate. Wake up the next morning, or as I go drift off to sleep that night with my little bedtime story in my head called A Cool Movie.
Oh yeah.
And I've had, in fact, way more chocolate than I needed to have. My son even said on a night like that one time after I was eating lots of Tom's Goodwill, muffins and cookies and things, we spent the better part of a weekend finishing 3 bags of sweet treats. We knew that we didn't want any more chocolate. What we wanted was salad.
Oh.
Something conjures up, there's something about a salad that feels wholesome, feels delicious, feels like, you know, if I had a salad, I think everything would be all right. But then again, we get called back to it at the end of the night. We say, you know what, I have to have a bedtime story. I have to have something to put me to bed. I have to have a dream. I have to have a fantasy. I have to walk in the shoes of another man. So we sit back down, we turn on our remote control and our TV and get the chocolate and popcorn out. May tonight be a night where we overflow our bounds and let it all go past ourselves, so when we go home tomorrow and we wake up in our beds, we say, man, not only was that more than I could take, but it was more than I thought I could give. Which is cool, because then you do it the next night and you just keep growing. Peace.
Hey, Scott Vanya.
Yeah, really.
Stereo. That wasn't posed at all, was it? New era. It's time for a new calendar in the year 14. We celebrated a year early when the millennium began. So next time, next century, we'll get it right for once. 2001 will be the year 1 of the new era in E. The year before will still be the year 2000, but OE. Or we could keep the historians' common era, CE. Christians could still reckon by Anno Domini, as the Jews could go on numbering their years as always, and the Chinese could keep going through their zodiac. But the common system would count from NE 1. BC and AD were miscalculated by church fathers whole centuries after the life of Jesus the Nazarene. How whenever we set the beginning of an era, it will be arbitrary. So we might as well reset back to 1 right about now, and think of how much easier Roman numerals will be, for a few years anyway. That's reason enough to do it, don't you think? Thank you. Yeah. This is the year 14 of the new era. Yeah. And now this is Tom, the world poet of any era.
I'm on January 14th drug, and I'm hungry for February drug, which is love. All right. I stumbled in the new year. I don't think there's anything new about New Year except allergies. I know everyone I know is got allergies. I call them chemtrails. I don't know if you look in the sky, but if you look in the sky, you see long straight little things. Not from planes, not from aliens. They're just these little chemtrails. And then people come near you and they sneezing all the time. And they think to themselves, well, there's something wrong. And it's not you, it's not me. It's chemtrails. Called allergies. And you see on Facebook you have the trees explode and they say blame the cedars. They're not cedars, they're junipers. Get it right, Texas. And bottom line is all of us sneezing, wheezing, coughing, stopping. Dr. Lynn Chemist hands out tablets we take them 3 days. Breathe again at high cost to our friends. Doped and drowsy and dull, can't see too well, kidneys are hell, fall asleep at our bed desk. Now if you're sneezing, don't start believing in mucopolymol pills or Claritin. Clean out your nose, make you so dull, make sure you're back home in bed. Now Medicare's gone, I'll throw out Polarin, try breathe, feeling well. Good diet and rest, a handy handkerchief, avoid dust and flies and cats. Could keep me alert, not hooked to hay fever. Achoo! Yeah, mama. Yeah, mama. Your mama was photoshopped. Your mama came from a 3D printer. Your mama's a selfie. Your mama's on Instagram. Your mama twerks. Your mama tweets. Your mama texts but can't spell. Your mama I bought for a Bitcoin. Your mama I'm saving for a second life. Your mama a celebrity, she got her own unreality show. Your mama sexting now. Your mama so now she be zen. Your mama art, your mama life. Your mama baby having babies, having babies, having babies, having babies. Your mama grand now, mama now. Hey mama, meet you down the Photoshop. Oh, baby. Oh, baby. Baby. Baby, 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 baby. Be mine, baby. Let me be your baby, baby. Cradle me in your sweet mother's arms. Oh, mother lover with a baby inside her. Hooter-farter. Who's been messing without my blessing? My baby, just a baby in this world. Next time that wild wind preacher show he devil face, I bring my full baby and say, hey devil man, why are you preaching to these children? They follow you on the TV like Jay-Z, like Pied Piper of Hamelin. Hey, gold digger, Kanye West, like you sold him, man. Go west. You preach at work at the MTV Awards. You preach at text and sex and tweet and flirt. You take out babies from the nipple of their natural born mama and feed them milk of image selfies. They want cars now and gold bling. They want euros, fashion fast and furious. Look what that did to Paul Walker, man. Leave our children out of this marketplace, or soon we'll have baby fashion parades. Jean Bennett lookalike celebrity infants all over with a cell phone camera and no contraception. I'm looking at you, Kim Kardashian.
Tom and Scott. A penny saved is a penny earned, Ben Franklin used to say. A savings account he would surely have if he were here today. Our own Benjamin Franklin, David Lester Young.
Along with being an invested poet, where I can change my look, I'm in the process of demoting David Lester Young and promoting Ben Doublebanger for a while. Well, Ben Doublebanger, yeah. It's a duplicate. It's a version of the Franklin Doublebanger. So I wrote this poem, what I call poem lyrics, and I was doing it. And as I was reading the verse, I started almost singing it. And much to my surprise, you know, it became kind of easy, and I'm very subconscious about my singing, well, my dancing too, but about everything practically. I went a cappella, and I don't even know what key I was on. Ron told me that I had a key, and the only key I know is this key in my car for my car. Well, he's going to tell me what key I'm in, so I'm going to go ahead and sing it a cappella again. It's called "Keep the World Stinging," poem and lyrics. Oh, here we go. Sing me a tune with a sting, singing a light, delightful lyrics, sailing aloft, musical harmony, sails drifting, love melodies, drift my soul in pure sunshine, feeling that sting power vibration, vibrate those strings to the heart, floating on sensual sound sensation. Play me a song with a sting, playing a chorus in pure tranquility, plucking with heartstring motion. Pluck the rose and love me emotion. Drift my soul in pure sunshine, feeling that string power vibration. Vibrate those strings to the heart, floating on sensual sound sensation. Sting me in a static love potion, in a vibrating love lotion that tingles in pure pollination, blossoming forth the feminine flower into be lovers, singing a song, singing a sting song for forever, forevermore. And I love you for forever, forevermore. Thank you.
Benjamin Franklin Doppelganger, David Lester Young. And now it's time for Sylvianne again.
But this one mentions the kind of like the universal cat. Too much inside. Too much inside. Too much crap inside. To let it all out at once will not happen. I must release the pain a little at a time. Must ease the pressure on my weary mind. Bottled up inside, all I once denied now must find its way to canvas after agonizing canvas, so that finally the sky will be blue once more, and the bird will whisper to the cat, "Come fly with me." Okay. This is on the edge of manic. When I go over the edge, I can't do anything else except save the world stuff. Okay. Lady Liberty. I want to perch atop the world, surrounded by people who do not sense my presence, to make the announcement that would save mankind, if anyone could hear my velvet voice falling softly between the trees in that forest where no one felt the world end. I want my energy to glow in the fire that doesn't quench, that doesn't burn and quench the thirst of a humankind that never knew the truth. I want the truth to be free and wet for all to partake of, and then I want to become the sky. And on the last day, I want only to fly. Get rid of that one.
I think I skipped Jessie that time. Jessie, are you out there?
She's gone.
She's gone, okay. Patricia, are you ready?
I am ready.
Patricia is ready. Let us know
Yes.
how we should set up for you here.
Okay.
Okay, one of the founders of this particular open mic.
Absolutely yes.
Absolutely yes, Patricia Fiske. Hey.
Tell them why I'm here. Tell them why I'm here.
Oh, yes. She is here in promotion of Secrets I Couldn't Tell My Children, a memoir.
Yes.
Patricia Sawyers Fiske.
Yes. One of these days. Oh, good. We're all back.
Yeah.
Yes. Am I being heard?
Yes.
Okay. Behave. So, the last 6 years have been spent writing this,
Yeah.
a memoir.
Yeah.
Secrets I couldn't tell my children, but I have. Told my daughter, and after a great buildup of, now it's pretty, I'm not sure. Anyway, when she finally read it, she said, "Mom, I thought she robbed a bank or killed somebody." Anyway, she approves, and I totally approve of my daughter. So,
Excellent.
I was debating about what to read to, and actually, I guess the first episode in it, which is sort of a catalyst for me writing this, because after that happened, my life changed immeasurably, and I wouldn't have had this book to write if this event had not happened. So I guess that's what I should read, and if time permits, maybe I'll read later something. I'm thinking I maybe might need my glasses, Kathleen. They're in that little blue tube right in the middle of my purse. Thank you.
You mean your Ben Franklin's?
I'm going to do a Ben Franklin. Yeah, absolutely. Well, let's see. Bonita Franklin. Okay. This is called A Fork in the Road. And it's the opening episode. I felt unusually pretty and grown up as I saw my image in the mirror. Ordinarily, I thought myself too tall, too large, and lacking in beauty. As I gazed at myself, I thought of my boyfriend, Rube. Just look at my princess, he'd say if he was there. But he wasn't there. I thought he was in Pensacola training other pilots to fly in formation. It was May the 11th, 1946. I was 19 and a student in the drama department at the University of Texas. Drama majors were required to work in every aspect of theater, from set building to stage lighting, and to serve in every function of a production from actress to usher. I would be playing the latter role that night. Female ushers were required to wear evening dresses. I had a fluffy, relatively demure one of my own, but I chose to sneak my sister's slinky black gown out of her closet
and now admired myself wearing it. Nothing I did on that ill-fated night was typical of my usual behavior, such as not asking permission to borrow my sister's revealing evening dress. I wouldn't have dared ordinarily, nor would I have had the courage to be seen in it. The prevailing attitude of society in the 40s was prudish for both men and women. It was not unusual for a rapist to escape conviction if his lawyer could tarnish his victim's reputation or prove that she had lured her attacker on with revealing clothing or provocative behavior. For years after the events of that May night, I'm sorry, my eyes are tearing and I'm having trouble seeing. It's the atmosphere, not my state of mind. I actually thought that everything that happened was all my fault. Because the dress I wore was too sexy, I must be guilty. And because I flirted, what happened must have been my fault. This blaming was widespread back then, and I bought it. Alfred, the obscure play for which I was ushering, was closing that night, and the cast always put on a satirical takeoff of the play, followed by a cast party on closing night. The takeoff was moderately funny, and I laughed hysterically at every nuance. I usually stood on the sidelines and silently judged every performance, but not that night. As the party began, I felt that something had changed in me. I was ordinarily reluctant to drink, but that night I drank. In fact, I drank enough to make me feel very desirable in that flattering black dress. As a rule, I had very little confidence in my ability to attract men, but somehow I felt bold enough to flirt outrageously. Pretty soon, this wallflower blossomed into the life of the party. In fact, I was changed sufficiently to attract Pat, the popular star of the show, who became somewhat famous later as a character actor of stage, film, and television. I'm sure you've seen him many times.
Fess Parker.
No. No, it was not Fess Parker. He wouldn't have had to do what Pat has to do. Oh, anyway. I'm sorry, I digress.
Me too.
Yes. Let's see. Although we were both engaged to other people, I was thrilled when he asked to drive me home, as transportation was always a problem when I was out late. I didn't like asking my mother or sister to pick me up after 10 at night. We always seemed to have a shortage of gasoline ration stamps, and it helped when I could get a ride home. Pat was older, a returning serviceman, and a senior. He was ruggedly attractive, and I was in awe of his popularity. As he drove toward my house, I babbled on about how good he was in the play. He offered very little in the way of conversation, so I filled the awkward silences with trivialities. When we reached my house, he turned into the dark driveway instead of parking at the curb where there was some light from the dark corner street lamp. As usual, my mother had not left the porch light on to save electricity, and I think so she could observe without being seen. Pat drove a car that was typical of the early 40s. Factories that had previously built autos for commercial use had been ordered to make vehicles for the war effort, so like most cars of that time, Pat's sedan was several years old, roomy, made for Americans by Americans. Bucket seats had not come into vogue, so the front seat was one continuous cushion from door to door, and by opening the passenger side door, one could lie down as though the front seat were a bed. Furthermore, the car remained dark when the door opened, unlike these days when a light pops on at the opening of a door. The gear shift was in the steering column and formed no obstacle between the driver and passenger. Some of you may have had your beginning in one of those roomy front seats. As soon as Pat stopped, what I thought would be a casual goodnight kiss from a fellow actor became a grim struggle. It was unlike any kiss I'd ever encountered. He forced his tongue between my lips like he was trying to swallow me. I'd heard about French kissing and thought this might be it, as Pat had been overseas in the service. It felt nasty to me, and I tried to push him away, but he was strong and pushed me down on the seat and got on top of me. My head and shoulders were behind the steering wheel, and he began groping my breast, broke a strap on my sister's dress, and pulled the top aside. He started sucking my one breast, and it hurt. With one hand, he held my breast, and with the other, he pulled my dress up. I struggled to get him off me and pleaded with him to stop. My mother often waited on the porch for me to come home, but I couldn't see if she was there, and I didn't want her to know what was happening, so I didn't scream. I finally managed to remove his mouth from my breast, so he turned his full attention to pulling my dress up and my underwear down. I kept my panties on by firmly crossing my legs, so he began trying to get his erection between my legs despite my underwear. He became an animal, ignoring my pleas to stop. With each thrust of his penis, he made a deep guttural noise that got louder and faster until he let out a roar. Thanks to my youthful energy and sturdy underwear, the actor turned beast failed to penetrate me, but he ejaculated on my sister's lovely black dress. Then he collapsed on top of me, causing me to gasp for breath. I frantically tried to extricate myself from beneath his heavy body, and when I finally succeeded, I scrambled out of the car and slammed the door. This must have roused him, for I heard the car roaring out the driveway as I staggered into the house and fell upon the daybed in the living room, which is where I always slept. I was too exhausted to get out the sheets as I usually did, or to remove my sister's dress. Early the next morning, I awakened to the blurry sight of my mother standing by me with a newspaper in her hand, asking questions my fuzzy brain could not grasp. I felt sick from last night's drinking and just wanted to be left alone, but I tried to focus on what she was saying. What was Rube's full name, she asked. Was? What do you mean, was? I mumbled. When I was finally able to open my eyes fully, I saw my mother holding a newspaper and staring at that blob of sperm on my sister's black dress. As I told her Rube's full name, she dropped the paper on the soiled garment and left the room sobbing. My head hurt, I was nauseated and ashamed, but I tried to focus my eyes on the newspaper's headline, 28 flyers died in training maneuver. As I read on and saw Rube's name on the list of victims, I grew numb. I have no idea how long that frozen state lasted, but when I was finally able to move, my confused brain pointed fingers of blame at myself. If you hadn't behaved like a slut, he'd still be alive. My irrational mind didn't take into account that Ruben had been killed the day before the party. Thus began a 6-year detour from the road to the happy marriage of my dreams into a path of reckless behavior and experiences that I kept secret for many years. These secrets that I couldn't tell my children. Before I reveal those secrets, I think I should let you know who I was before my detour, from the straight and narrow. So that's the beginning, and the rest of it is an outcropping of that event. Really, I just went sort of crazy, and when I finally graduated from college after behavior that was probably going to hit the headlines in Austin any time, and shame me in front of my mother, I went to New York, and there's where many of the secrets started, and that's the X-rated portion of the.
Excellent.
Anyway, that's it went on from there, and I think I'll
come back.
Well, I could read one more section maybe later, but right now I think I'll stop. And I would like to say that I do have books available. They're $15, and you're welcome to. I'd love to sign them for you if you want one. And if you don't want one, hey, that's great.
How old were you when that event happened?
19. I was still in college.
Thanks for reading that.
Yeah. Here.
Kind of shaky sometimes.
Yeah, I don't trust these chairs. I saw somebody go over in one once. It's just the leg just go over. And if it's never going to break, it's going to break with me. I'm sorry.
Do you want me to give you
Yeah, I do. I need a hand. Thank you. No, I better not.
Okay.
I'm sorry.
It's okay.
Need to rock into it, I guess.
Yeah, I do.
There you go.
Success.
Patricia Fiske. Ooh, pretty saucy stuff.
I'm going to be 87 next birthday.
Wow, wow.
That's coming up very soon. Yes.
And now again, our Jessie Valentine. Sweet Jessie Valentine. She makes us smile with her heart. Jessie Valentine.
I've said all my poetry to music, so I hope you don't mind.
Not at all.
All right, so this one's kind of a funny one. About this time of year, my stepfather, he has a backhoe business, and he would be out of work because he would get stuck in the mud if he tried to work right now. And so I'm from California. I moved out here a year ago. Anyways, there's lots of gold in the hills of California, supposedly. And about this time, he would get gold fever and start digging up my mother's property. And my mom was this complete hippie activist lady, and she loves all natural things and did not like him tearing up her hillside. But he would do it anyways. And he would come in and plead, Barbara, 6 more feet. He would find a speck of gold, and he'd be like, 6 more feet, Barbara. I promise I'm going to find the mother lode. Just 6 more feet, 6 more feet. He never found the mother lode, but I wrote a song about it. The winter is long and the winter is cold. The hills are full of gold. Ain't no work, can't eat the dirt. Gotta find that gold. 6 more feet, Barbara. 6 more feet, Barb. I'll find that gold, hit the mother lode, and we won't have to starve. 6 more feet, Barbara. 6 more feet, Barb. I'll find that gold, hit the mother lode, and we won't have to starve. Work real hard and I work real long, looking for that gold. The hole got bigger, dug ever deeper, trying to find that gold. 6 more feet, Barbara. 6 more feet, Barb. I'll find that gold, hit the mother lode, and we won't have to starve. 6 more feet, Barbara. 6 more feet apart. I'll find that gold, hit the mother lode, and we won't have to start. Rice and beans for another night, then back out in the cold. Oh, the days grew short and the nights grew long, looking for that gold. Follow them quartz veins, 'cause where they meet, that's where you'll find the gold. But I bet they run parallel from here to Reno. 6 more feet, Barbara, 6 more feet, Barb. I'll find that gold, hit the mother lode, and we won't have to start. 6 more feet, Barbara, 6 more feet, Barb. I'll find that gold, hit the mother lode, and we won't have to start. Time wears on and supplies wear thin, looking for that gold. And if I don't find some, I'm gonna jump on in and bury myself in that hole. 6 more feet, Barbara, 6 more feet, Barb. I'll find that gold, hit the mother lode, and we won't have to start. One more time. 6 more feet, Barbara, 6 more feet, Barbara. I'll find that gold, hit the mother lode, and we won't have to starve or eat the kids. I don't know.
Don't eat the kids.
Yeah, that would be me.
Cabrito.
I'm still here.
Okay. This is a song, actually, 2 intertwining songs from my musical Chanteuse. It's about folk singers in the 60s, friends from college who go up to New York to be folk singers in Greenwich Village. And at this point, they're doing very well. And Johanna's singing this nice little song about growing up, Sugar and Spice. And off to the side, her friend Darcy is saying, you know, maybe she's being a little optimistic about life. Sugar and spice, snips and snails, everything nice, puppy dog tails, ring round the rosy, man in the moon, dance me a jig and whistle a tune. Dad pick me up, Mom brush my hair, tell me a story, it's scary out there. 1 drink of water, 1 more piece of pie, tuck me in bed and sing lullaby. Whose life is like that? Not hers, not mine. Father never drinks and mother always cares. The children rarely fight, you know. Everything is bliss and life is always fair on the American TV show. Neat and tidy and tied up with a bow. Whose life was ever like that? If you find such a family, please let me know. Father, mother, sister, brother, goldfish, dog, and cat. Punish my brother, doctor my knee, tie my shoelaces, play catch with me. Fix my poor dolly, help fly my kite, give me a hug and kiss me goodnight. Help me with homework, drive me to school. Let's go to the movies, let's go to the pool. Lend me the car, be kind to my date. I'm off to the prom, I may be home late. Sis is still a virgin, brother makes all A's. Dad would never hurt his child. Mom would never dream of having an affair. Never coarse, never vile or wild. You won't hear mother scream, you won't see sister cry. Father wouldn't strike you and mother. There won't be stolen goods in your brother's room, and the police won't arrest your brother. It's time I start thinking about a career. I'll be a freshman in college this year. Daddy, I love him with all of my might. Kids, kiss grandma and grandpa goodnight. sugar and spice, snips and snails, everything nice, puppy dog tails. Ring round the rosy, man in the moon, dance me a jig and whistle a tune. Father won't get stinking drunk, he won't punch mother's eye. Mom wouldn't ever stray, Dad would never bruise his daughter, and I wouldn't run away. Neat and tidy and tied up with a bow, whose life was ever like that? If you find such a family, please let me know. Father, mother, sister, brother, goldfish, dog, and cat. And then they'll both come together, hopefully, for the last chorus. Sugar and spice, sniffs and snails, everything nice, puppy dog tails. Ring round the rosy, man in the moon, dance me a jig and whistle a tune. Thank you. Now it's time for Tom to work on.
Four horsemen of the apocalypse are shame, guilt, judgment, and blame. And I think all of them are false prophets. So this is based on the theme of forgiveness. Of course, we start with ourselves, but mostly we forgive those we love. From a distance, the errant film star, a lost celebrity, a drunken husband, wife, domestic partner. Those headlines, deadlines, worry lines, unemployment lines, that politician who simply can't tell the truth. George Washington, who did chop down that cherry tree. Children generally and pets because of their smallness and cute factor. Fate and its astrological servants who render free will to shreds. The moon whom we blame tonight for tides of love leaving us bare bone. The sun who powers and empowers us is rarely seen in winter. Stars upon which we hang our daily fortunes. Gods, goddesses, false prophets who taunt us with heavens and supply us with hells. Neighbours unfriendly, family by blood possessed, friends who hurt when we're most sensitive. Ourselves, we who make more mistakes than we admit and love with forgiveness, find your nest. On death row, in the hands of lawyers seeking governor commutation of sentence, on grounds of compassion of declined mental acuity, capacity, wanting a modicum of salutary forgiveness. Childhood's mini melodramas when small is huge to each of us. First love, thin intimacies, smashed expectations, adolescence, wild frontiers breaking boundaries, early adulthood, when starting to slow yet not yet bored. Dull jobs with pranks to consequences. Practical jokes, graffiti tagging, Roman slogans, Colosseum, Pompeii, Herculaneum. March of time drum beats us into domesticity. Too late to go back and blue Humpty Dumptys. How many of us, each, every, all, still seek forgiveness for acts of spontaneous impulse that broke down our worlds? There are some people who say that some things are unforgivable today. Buddha says that Maya, Karma, Dharma, says everything just is. And the issue of forgiveness isn't really for us. Pop star philosophers pedal platforms on Oprah Winfrey, dividing hero from audience, ringmaster from animal acts. Where I live in Texas, they still kill people for murder. And irony is a threatened species. Forgiveness always seems so retrospective. Too little, too late. It does not stop rape. And assumes equality between predator and victim. Our sentient universe records every scar, wound, and hurt, from earthquakes caused by fracking to radioactive tsunami tuna. If Akashic records will not be censored, why should we censor ourselves? Are there crimes so hideous as to never warrant forgiveness? As a condemned man on death row pleads for mercy, or goes to his self-ordained inn with tranquility and equanimity? We are human. We make mistakes. Sometimes we oscillate between hubris and victimhood. Sometimes the executioner. Sometimes the chopped royal head. Sometimes Sri Lanka. Sometimes Ceylon. Sometimes Cambodia, sometimes Kampuchea, sometimes Burma, sometimes Myanmar, Cathay, Han, Quinn, Kina, Sarika, Ceres, Sino, Tinhua,
Zangtu Benbu, Zen Ha Wen Min Gong He Hu. Dipped in languages, lost in translation, we gain forgiveness only when we give it. Inexhaustible gift, bottomless well, deep spring. Water forgives us when we use and abuse. Drought to flood like tsunami tide, season of love. Action means more than name. Forgiveness releases all blame. Forgive yourself. Come on, let's move on.
I think this might be a good time for a group photograph.
Group photo, yes.
Group photograph, everybody come up here.
Come on. Why are we
We
coming
can go over there.
Yes.
We can go over there.
Yes.
No, that's okay.
Bring your cameras out, everyone.
Get my flash
Texas style, man. Everything's big in Texas. My scars. Yeah, it's not good. No, this is everyone. This is a group photo.
Yeah, this is everybody.
So all here is that y'all. All of us, yeah. Come on. Yes, come on. Everyone, come on. We all pass. Get closer. It's a small camera.
Get a little bit closer.
Yes, ma'am. Faces. Make sure your faces are in the camera. Little camera, isn't it? Oh, she'll change. Shot.
Let me try it. Oh, that was a good flash.
Me too.
I wasn't sure the flash was on.
And you want to get so you should use?
Okay, here's a good photograph.
You're a good photographer. Jessie, good photographer. She's good.
Or if people this is one where you might need to kind of do like a pre-shot, you know how that works.
Yeah.
And that's the shutter.
Stop.
Right.
Can you get more?
If you can see me, I can see you.
He's doing the magic jack.
Oh yeah?
He says that. Yes, he does.
Get a little bit closer.
Get people in the back row. Facebook will never be the same.
It didn't show the. Oh, there it is. Oh, that one was great. Here we go. Thank you.
Yes, please.
Certainly more.
We'll soon find out. Can you? It's a mystery.
All right, wonderful. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, well, next on the list is Scott Vanya. Great, Scott. Take your time setting up.
Part of me is speechless, which is an odd thing to be able to say, but part of me is speechless. I'm still on the moment where Patricia said her thing, and I have lots of things to say, I guess.
A sec, let me try this.
Is that one? I just love learning stuff. I mean, I love learning stuff about people. I love learning how to play a little bit different. I love to be new. not be known, but be new. Go out into that place where something's never happened before. See each new second that passes, kind of like that face. This is an old thought. I was on a bus earlier today. It's the first time I've told this to anybody. On my way up here, and a young 3-year-old girl came on the bus. And she, in her 3-year-old innocence, smiled and said, "Hi." And, you know, I think it's an audience like this that would understand the poetry of that. There are those steel workers, and there are those coal miners, and there are those grocery clerks who would not let that mean anything more than it does. A little 3-year-old girl saying hi to you in the bus. But to me, she said hi, and I'm in and out with my guitar. Not 10 minutes later, or how much time passed. Enjoying the fact that nothing was happening. And her mom said, "Are you okay?" to her. And I looked into her eyes and knew that she and I had touched. She was watching me doing nothing and had been moved. The mom didn't have a clue. She misspoke like so many moms do. They say stuff when they'd be better off if they just said nothing. So now I'm here in a room or an outdoors patio. And the only tune I can think to sing is one as even as starlight. It's so easy for us human beings to wander off late at night out into space where it's nothing but cold and gray and full of light. But I have seen here over the last hour and a half, the stars don't exist inside people. They are flesh and blood and tender and filled with abundant kindness and generosity in their giving of themselves. The naysayers who appear out in the wild, the woolliness on those tools, you know the ones I'm talking about, I dare not mention them, would like to walk away with a part of our optimism and say, there is tragedy all around you. On a light night like this, I cannot fathom what they mean. The world is made a better place by poetry. There are times I am so ancient, it is only the poetry that draws me back into the now. And the beautiful part of that is not that I'm here, but that would call me forward into a moment of peace. It's the same one that will for all time and has for all time called every other poet into existence. It is making a music of language, of flesh and blood, and compassion, and pure joy. Thanks.
Wow.
this looks sort of wild.
It's a bomb.
Scott Vanya. Oh, it cut off. I think we lost a battery here or something. Okay. The battery, I think, went out on that one or something. Okay. Now it's time for Benjamin Franklin doppelganger, David, Lester, and Young.
This is called, I'm going to do 2 pieces here. This one is called T-O-O-B-E-E, alive, to be alive. Upon feral weeds can one sow wildflowers, while upon solid rock one compose his soul. When upon grains of fiber one weaves verse, radiating a metal full of sensual love sensations. O heart of mine, dance crystal waves of light auras, in the prism poetry alliterating among rainbows. Misting words kiss aloft, moist, delicate, soft touches, tingling adrift meanings in pulsating poetic pulses. Sail inside harmonic highs that levitate like levity, where when joviality springs forth nature's enumeration, listing the reason why life must blossom within, germination being pollinated, glad to be alive. This is another one of the poem and lyrics. I'll probably start off reading it, and I don't know if I'll take off into singing it or not. Oops. Got the wrong one. It's called Keep the World Praying. It's a version I'll take on the other one. Hold hands in thy neighbor. Oh, let me start over. Hold hands and love thy neighbor, where we come together as this choir, where a world sings in such harmony, a song blends all colors into a melody. We are the humanity of all races, sharing the colors between black and white, sharing yellow, rose, brown, tan faces, united together in universal love. We must break bread together as a community of human beings, sharing the communion of all faith, coming together in brotherly love. We are the humanity of races, sharing all the colors between black and white, sharing red, yellow, red, brown, tan faces, united together in universal love. Let us imagine creating a human chain, stretching hand to hand, symbolically around the world, sharing peace for one day where there would be no war, but a world praying together. Thank you.
It's working again. Yay. The battery was loose or something. Well, I don't know if you know the origin of the word ukulele. It is Hawaiian for flea, actually.
What?
It's a tiny little thing.
Yeah.
That when Spanish and Portuguese sailors landed on Hawaii, they adopted a smaller version of the guitar and called it the ukulele for flea. And now, the master of the ukulele, Jessie Valentine.
I'll play one that I wrote that I actually know. These other two I haven't memorized the words for because they were brand new. And by the way, I do have fleas. Just so you know. Keep your distance. Actually, Okay, the Portuguese, the ukulele originated with the Portuguese. They brought the ukulele to Hawaii.
Ah, okay.
And the oldest known ukulele was actually found in Africa.
Wow. All
Not
right.
even a Hawaiian instrument. And I don't play Hawaiian music, so that's good. Okay, but here is one that my godmother's, she's the one that told me all that, by the way. She taught me how to play and told me all that stuff. And so this is a song I wrote for her. Okay. Fairy godmother, take me to the ball. Wand your shoes, I need them all. Flick your wand and poof my chores away. I want once upon a time, far, far away. A pinch of pixie dust to Neverland, where I can be a mermaid lounging in the sand. Whisk me away to your tallest tower, where I can sleep for hours and hours. Release me from reality. Send Prince Charming to rescue me. He'll tell me I'm the fairest one of all. If fairy godmother, take me to the ball. With an abracadabra, bip and pop and boo, do that voodoo that you do. I want a fairy tale life so bad. Wicked stepmother driving me mad. If I miss the ball, be so blue. I am waiting for you, fairy godmother. I am waiting for you.
Yeah!
Thank you very much. I'm Jessie Valentine. I've enjoyed all of you so much.
Thank you, Jessie. Let me see. Pat, are you ready to come up again?
Oh, me?
Yes? Patricia Fiske?
Are you really happy to hear some more? Yes!
Yes, indeed.
Bye. Oh, no, you're all right. I'm sorry. Don't worry about it. I don't see him. That's okay. Yes. It's getting a little chilly in here, isn't it?
It is.
Yes. That's not good. Is this alive?
Oh yeah, it's a lot.
Okay. Okay, yes. Okay. You know, I'm not going to read any of my secrets.
Okay.
You have to buy the book to find those out. But I'm going to, after I was in New York for 3 or 4 years and sowing my wild oats, and I came back, and I hadn't seen my parents for a long time. So I came, they were in East Texas, out in sort of in the boonies, and here I was coming straight from New York, and so I
read a little section of that. Well, I thought it would be listed here, but maybe this is it. 106. I thought I had a chapter with that label on it, but I don't seem to. So I'm just going to have to guess. I really should read some of the New York stuff. I read I met a lot of celebrities there.
Name 100.
Well, probably the most famous was my boyfriend and Harry Belafonte were best friends, and this was before Harry became famous, and I was able to know him, you know, before that time. He had made some records, some pop records, but he hadn't gone into folk music at that time. And one night we went to a party, and he sang Scarlet Ribbons to quiet the hostess's little child they were trying to get to sleep. And it was so beautiful. And we all told him, you know, that is so beautiful, you really ought to record it. And you know, that's really your style. And so he did, and the rest is history. You know, his fame came from folk music, and I think it began in that evening, or at least in my mind.
Yes.
Okay, this is not it. Okay, here we are. We are in it. Did you find my glasses?
No.
Oh, okay.
Bluetooth, right? Oh.
Yeah, see if these
Are they in your pocket, Patricia?
Huh?
Are they in your pocket?
No. Okay, this will help. Any port in a storm, you know. Well, I'll start at the beginning of this. It's called Aftermath. And I'm talking about an episode that anyway, I finally woke up enough to realize that I was being gobbled up by my dead-end lifestyle. My body was saying, I want to make babies, but I knew that I would never bring children into this world without a good father, a man they could trust, to whom they could be proud, of whom they could be proud. I wanted to get married, but Phil quite wisely refused to marry me. Being the product of a biracial union, he knew firsthand the problems involved in such a marriage in the early 50s. My brain was finally realizing that big city living was toxic to me, and I would have better luck acquiring a good father for my future children by going back to Texas and finding some respectable employment. When I left New York, I wanted to see my folks, as I had been gone for almost 3 years. Having worked in Trinidad and the Dominican Republic for the past couple of years, my daddy was finally back in the States, and my mama was by his side. They'd been going from job to job in an old truck, pulling their small house trailer behind. When I bought my plane ticket in New York, I found that I had to fly to Dallas and catch a bus to where they were living near Dangerfield in East Texas, where my father was a foreman on the Lone Star plant that was being built. In the early 50s, airplanes were not just cattle cars, and when people flew, they dressed up. I had managed to acquire a very stylish wardrobe while in New York, and chose to wear my favorite suit by Lily of Paris, complete with an ermine-trimmed hat, gloves, purse, and fuck-me heels to match. I was aware that I turned heads in this outfit, even in New York. I could feel that I was being admired. I was almost 6 feet in heels,
knew how to use makeup to make the most of my average looks, and framed my face with a dramatic Hedy Lamarr hairdo. I think the real attraction, however, was my animal magnetism, which I could turn on or off at will. I didn't have time to change clothes in Dallas before I had to catch the bus, so I removed my hat and gloves and turned off my animal magnetism, hoping to fit in, but to no avail. The locals seemed mesmerized by the clothes horse. There I was in my fancy clothes on a bus headed for the boonies. It had been years since had seen open spaces punctuated by gorgeous piney woods planted in deep red soil. And though I was very tired, my eyes hungrily scoured the landscape through the bus window while soaking in the delicious East Texas twang that warmed my ears and my soul. I had given the bus driver the description of my parents' location that my mother had given me, but I was still surprised when he stopped and called out, "Lady, I think this might be it." Sure enough, there were Tom and Chloe almost running with their little trailer, from their little trailer toward the bus. As the driver unloaded my bags from a compartment on the outside of the bus, my daddy went to retrieve them, while my mama held on to me like she would never let me go. Her sobs were contagious, and I was soon stripped of any sophistication that I might have acquired in the big city. When she managed to stammer through her tears, "I thought I'd never see my baby again." The trailer was perched on a high place, surrounded by pine trees and overlooking a lovely small lake, which was also circled by tall pines. We struggled up the dirt path, my dad with a heavy bag luggage, followed by my mom and me. I was trying to keep my balance as my stiletto heels sank into the soft soil while my mother clung to me. She launched into a diatribe against my father without even asking about my trip. "That man will be the death of me, Patty. Instead of helping me get things ready, he was building that cage over there all morning. Says one of the boys knows where there's a solid white coon he can buy. Can you beat that? He hadn't seen you in 5 years, and he says he's going off somewhere to get some critter before it gets dark." I was already feeling the friction that happened when my mom and I rubbed together, and I was used to men putting their own agendas before mine, so I eluded my mom's grasp and thanked my dad for toting my bags as I gave him a big hug, which he accepted but didn't return. "What's this about an albino raccoon?" I asked. "One of my boys says his pappy is a trapper that's got himself a solid white coon with pink eyes. I told the boy I'd buy it from the old man if he could hold it for me till this afternoon so as I could build me a cage for it. I gotta get out there before dark. These piney woods is spooky at night." Those were the most words I'd ever heard my dad speak at one time, and I wanted to hear some more. I knew it would hurt my mother's feelings, but I felt the need to get out of her orbit as I asked my pa if I could go with him. He said that was fine, but we needed to go right now, and I knew I couldn't negotiate the backwoods in my high heels, and my mom's feet were smaller than mine, so I asked my dad for a pair of his. He said he had an old pair of boots in the pickup. Always ready for an adventure, I said my goodbyes to a disappointed mother and jumped into his rickety old truck. My father had never shown much interest in me, and I had learned enough about men that I would have to get a dialogue started if there was to be one. The best way to do that, I had learned, was to ask questions about the man. I asked him about Trinidad, the last country he had worked in, and his job, but my questions fell pretty flat. I got monosyllabic answers, but when I asked him about food, he grew rhapsodic about bananas. Told me about all the kinds of bananas they had in Trinidad and the many ways they fixed them. He said that he thought he might be part monkey because he liked that yellow phallic fruit so much. He said he always kept a big stock of bananas in his closet when he was in Trinidad. I realize now that the reason he had never shown much interest in me was that I had never shown much interest in him when I was growing up. He was away earning a living for the family most of the time. My mother put him down every chance she got, often hinting that there were things I didn't know about him, and if I did, I might not like him. Still, I wanted to know about him and to have him like me. As I listened to Dad's banana rhapsody, I was taking in all the sights, sounds, and smells of the deep East Texas piney woods. The trees formed the canopy over us, hiding the sun and creating a dark and fascinating view. When I looked up to see the sun, I could only see splashes of light through the branches, while only a few hours ago when I looked up, I saw tall buildings. It occurred to me that only that morning I had been catching a cab in mid-Manhattan to go to the airport. Talk about culture shock. As we drove along uneven ruts through the tall pines, there were occasional signs of human habitation, a shack or trailer tucked in among the foliage. No one had to worry that we would sneak up on them. The shocks in that old truck were totally shot. As my father navigated the unevenness in the trail, the growling motor and clanking of tools loose in the bed in the truck announced our arrival long before we got there. Every time we went careening off the trail and into the brush, I would caution my dad to slow down, and he'd keep up his speed, but explained that old Moses might let the coon loose if he didn't get there before dark. We wound around through the woods for quite a while before he came upon a clearing where the trail ended in front of a run-down shack with animal skins snailed all over the porch wall. An ancient black man sitting on a galvanized tub was waving his arms wildly. As we drew into a stop, old Moses shouted, "Hurry, Master Tom, I've got to go." As soon as Dad was near, the old man scurried off to the outhouse. He had evidently been sitting there all day waiting for us. He had the raccoon trapped under that tub, and he couldn't get up for fear the critter would escape. I laughed more in the next 30 minutes than I had in months. Watching those two old men try every trick they could think of to get that raccoon from under the tub and into the small cage my dad brought with him was hilarious. My father barked orders constantly, always prefaced by, God damn it, Moses, grab him, God damn it, Moses, he's getting away." Each order was quickly followed up with, "Yes, Mr. Tom, I'm trying," or "I can't help it, Mr. Tom, he hit me, he bit me." The coon had the opponents outclassed until Moses, being hungry himself, suggested that they put some food in the cage to entice the poor critter, and it worked. It was none too soon, for when they moved the tub, they saw that the albino had gnawed a nice-sized hole in the porch and would have been gone soon if they hadn't caught him. I couldn't believe my ears when Moses said he'd take $5 for the critter. After spending the day on that tub, I felt that he deserved more, so I told my dad that I wanted to pay the old man. I gave him a 10, which went much further in the early 50s than it would today, and he was thrilled to get it. And I thought he was going to hug me, but I realize now that he never would have done that. East Texas was way behind the rest of the country when it came to integration. As soon as my dad made sure the cage was secure, he started back through the winding trail. The sun was going down and darkness surrounded us. I noticed that there were more inhabitants than I had suspected, judging from the many lights along the way, shining through the thick underbrush and trees. The headlights caught the glow of many animals' eyes, often accompanied by large moving shadows. My dad was right. It was spooky. When he finally arrived at the trailer, Tom took the quarry over to the larger cage he had built in the day while I followed my nose into the trailer. Mom showed her love through food, and she had cooked my once favorite dish, which I call skiddity. When I was a child, it was her concoction made of ground beef, cheese, onions, and macaroni with spices that I could never duplicate. She also made my favorite cake, a pineapple upside-down cake, baked in a skillet and turned over to show perfect pineapple rings on top. I marveled that she could produce such a satisfying meal in such a tiny space. I couldn't stop bragging on my mother, and she didn't stop smiling. Then after eating, a transformation took place. The kitchen vanished and a place for me to sleep was revealed. I had not had enough sleep for the past week, and my yawns must have been pretty obvious, so we all went to bed early. It had been so long since I had the feeling of being surrounded by real caring that I slept long and late. And I have poetry throughout my book. So here's where I injected this poem, Melancholy Baby. My inner child threw a tantrum the other day. Tired of yielding to strong woman facade, she stomped her feet and demanded recognition. Like a petulant brat, unmindful of surroundings, she let everyone know how tired she was of orbiting around others, making others feel special, of soothing others who ignored her specialness. She craved that center of the universe feeling of so long ago in Porch Brocker, when her mother held her close to warm, ample breast and sang, "Cuddle up my melancholy baby." Now my mother's inner child erupted often as well. It wanted love lavished upon me, returned in kind. It wasn't then I didn't understand. I never wanted to be like my mother, but no, I am. I love her in all her imperfection, her legacy to me. As I've learned to love my mother, I've loved myself as well. The outbursts of my inner child will go unpunished. Instead, I'll listen to what she's trying to tell me. Tell her she's already loved, and I'll take her into my arms and sing to her like my mother. Smile, my honey dear, while I brush away each tear, or else I will be melancholy too. When I awakened the next day, my parents were outside, so I dressed quickly to join them. They were sitting on a concrete bench made by my father. My mother seemed to be comforting him. When I asked what was wrong, my mother said, "Would you believe it, Padloo? That pink-eyed rascal chewed his way out of Tom's cage, and he's long gone." Thank you, whoever's glasses I use.
Tom's.
I got a hand too.
I just don't want to knock something down.
Don't you worry about that. Okay, sure.
Thank you, Patricia.
Yes.
Secrets I Couldn't Tell My Children, a memoir by Patricia Fiske.
Yeah.
Incidentally, when all this happened, I was Sawyer's.
Yeah.
Yes.
That's why I included mine.
Tom Sawyer's.
Yes. That's my father.
That's a great name.
The glasses aren't here.
I think they're hanging from the wall.
All the time. Yank, yank, yank. I love it. Yes,
About partway through, I didn't want to interrupt.
You're setting me.
I'll be right back.
What was he going to do with the raccoon? A pet, okay.
And David's gonna take Jessie home.
Maybe they teach him tricks or something.
Thank you, Jessie. Thank you, Patricia. Great. The dark. I have made friends with the dark. Gradually, subtly, unknowingly. Lights out at 5, there were monsters under bed and open closet outside. Plus spiders rappelling all around me until I conjured up a spider-proof curtain lowering at bedtime from my ceiling. At 10, I would still close closet doors, superstitiously every night just in case. In times when everything was possible, imagination ran rampant, monsters ruled, wolves lurked deep in the local woods, and golden eagles carried off babies. With adulthood, there were still boogeymen, a realistic basis for fear of the dark, to be sure, though they did not hide in my bedroom closet, and my spider curtain was no longer required. In middle age now, I just know a home intruder would trip and fall in my messy, cluttered house when sneaking about without the benefit of light, and my guard cats would attack him viciously. Well, probably not. But he might stumble from one rubbing against his leg and begging for a bribe. I rather appreciate the play of moonlight in darkness, as well as that of sunlight on a day brilliant and glowing. But the shadowy contrast of black and white and gray pierces deeply into my fundamental human psyche, and hints of things seen, unseen, and almost seen, raising the hairs on the back of my neck in alarm, racing the pace of my beating heart with apprehension, and driving my fertile mind to ponder and wonder at worlds dreamed, known, and yet to be discovered. For the dark is the mind is me. I am the dark. Thank you. Time again for Spirit Tom, Tom the World Poet. Every Tom.
Happy. Thank you. Well, it's a true story. When your truth comes out, I got one for you, Patricia. Your memoir sparked this reminder of when I first left home, okay? I first left home 3 times I tried. First time I slept between the walls of the university, right? Because it was my real home was the university. And drunks came out pissing in the alleyway. I didn't stay there long. Second time, I was sleeping in the bed of a dead man, and they had the funeral nurses on the wall at 24 Dunbar Terrace in Drapelli. My sister came with a blanket, and I'll never forget the fact my sister came with a blanket to keep me warm when I was in the cold world. Third time I was sleeping on a veranda, and I had 2 things. I owned 2 things. I was pretty rich. I had a pup organ, which I play at midnight to scare the pigeons and eat their eggs. And I had a mattress, and I had 3 things. I had a record player, so I could play music and dance. And that cost $2.50 a week, right? Sleeping on the veranda of these bushwalkers. So anyway, I was the editor of the student newspaper, and the police didn't like the sort of stuff that I was printing, like how to synthesize your own mescaline and things like that. So I thought it was important information. People need to have that sort of stuff. They disagreed. So they burnt my newspaper, and I left, and I went down to another university, and there well, my first place, there was a lot of homeless even then, and I was in this apartment, and I thought, well, why don't we just open our homes to people? And I did. So I got evicted with 14 other homeless people who were at my place. But I moved to another place underneath the overpass, and my landlady was Lebanese and psychic, named Mrs. Saad. God rest her, she is a magnificent soul. Now in Lebanon, it's a very patriarchal society, and she was very direct with me. She said, I know you've got homeless people staying in my home. My brother wants to evict you, but I own this property. And as long as people remember the poet of my country, Khalil Gibran, Lebanon, you have a home for the rest of your life. And I would still be there. I'd still be underneath that overpass, wake up in the morning, hear the birds coughing, and all of that world, except for the fact that I met Wendy. But this is the point of the story, is that when I said, Mrs. Saad, I've met someone, I'm prepared to actually change my past, so there is a future. And she said, well, let me see her. So, took her to Mrs. Saad, and when we left, she gave me a gold pen to keep writing poetry, and gave her a gold necklace, which I think Wendy still got after all these years. Now, Mrs. Saad is up there with the angels in heaven, because if there is a heaven, it's certainly not Lebanon today. It's up there. But what a magnificent soul. She used to come round
under the pretext of inspecting the premises, but actually to talk about her second husband, Sam, and complain about him to me, you know. And I said, Mrs. Sard, Sam loves you with all his heart. He's just a man. He makes mistakes. That's what men do. She said, yes, but he could do it better. He could do it better. It was sort of like I was a secular confessor to her. But she always had to pretend that she was coming to inspect the home to make sure I didn't have homeless people there. There were homeless people there, but the glory of her understanding, she could see right through things. And the glory of her love of the universe as it is, and her ability as a woman to be in a world of men and define the terms for her existence by simply saying, while I am here, you have a home for the rest of your life. Now that is the power of a life that becomes more than a story. It becomes more than a memoir. It takes one's life and like yours, stories, makes a mythic cast that includes every one of us. Because every one of us have been in situations that we didn't know we'd be involved in. And we didn't know we'd come out of them. And while we're in the middle of them, they just seem so traumatic and so powerfully filled with pressure. And even when time goes away, looking back at them, you see a little storm in an ocean of yourself. And realize that you can't see out from the middle of the storm, even if it's a still point at the time. And only later can you tell the stories to your children, to your friends, to your allies and companions of how you mastered the storm. And how you're with us now in the still point of your life to be able to share the flowers from your life's garden. And how you put them between covers and carefully nurtured them with artistic friends and covers. And releasing these things are like releasing flowers into the air. Releasing bits of truth so other people can dig out their life stories, dig out what happened to them, and say, this is what happened. This is my truth, this is my life. And there you are, on every page, a mirror.
Tom? Yelling Tom.
I know, that's why this is Oh no, I have something to share with you. I have something to share with you. Yeah, I have something to share with you, Patricia, if you don't mind. It won't take I'll try not. Well, just you and I have. So I'll tell you just to flat out the information. You and I have a very similar background. My great grandparents of the 77-year marriage lived in Batson, outside of Liberty. Do you know where that is in East Texas? Okay, well my parents, I went to the Big Thicket. They lived in East Texas too, over in Liberty, Batson area. And so they were married 77 years and were a tiny little place. He used to shoot coons with a .22, and they had, at one point they had a big huge iron kettle out in their yard at one of their uncles or his brother's house or something. So I remember the East Texas, and it was important to me too. That's just one. I mean, I can perform it, but that's all I want to tell you, because those are some great times in that part in my youth. We would go there once a month or so and see him, and he just had a certain presence. You know, he lived to be 97. She died at 95, and I remember that, and it's lived with me for a long time. One, as an opportunity for me that I may live that long. The guy saw the history of space flight from Orville Wright to the shuttle, and so it was a really cool part of the country. And I got to walk in the Big Thicket and shoot 22s and stuff. So it was fun. Well, now you can go. You're welcome to stay. You're welcome to stay. But that's what I wanted to tell you.
Thank you.
Didn't mean to keep it.
I'm sorry to see the joy.
Thank you.
Yes.
Glad to meet you.
Did too.
Thank you for coming, Pat. Patricia.
Thank you. Louise, my old friend for many years.
Yeah.
So what is this thing that hangs out in the back of our brain? In all those dark closets we keep We have a past. We can't really afford to deny it. If we do, we'd miss tomorrow. Because tomorrow is just a past waiting to happen. And every story that's yet been written is one that grows out of that good earth. There's so many yet to write, see, and live. I am so often reminded of the flower that turns toward the sun. It's natural to want to roll downhill and rush around the rocks like in those streams I used to see in Colorado. And it only takes one man or one woman's poem to set you rolling, set you tumbling down into the back streets of your own mind, where you remember a girl's hand, or how y'all fought, or how that kiss felt. But what of the kisses to come? Tonight's been a night about the past. It's also been a night about the future. And I know tonight I'll get a ride with Louise and a little chit-chat about how the night went, and I'll go home. I'll write Tom some emails, and he and I will get heated and heated as the mails come faster and faster. Till finally I have to say, wait a second, I can't concentrate anymore. This is just too much poetry for me, man. I gotta go. There's something else I gotta work on. It's a bright year. Just told Louise today in an email, Merry Christmas. I am such a believer in Santa Claus. And I was singing the song to myself the other night about be good, and because he's always watching. The really cool part is we are each a Santa Claus. Every single day you can give yourself the gift of absolution or forgiveness. A little kindness to say, I'll help somebody else out. I'll do my part to make a better world. I wish my parents could see me sometimes when I play like this. Tomorrow they're due to arrive, and it takes some time to give my dad, my old man, his space. He gave me so much space working in that old refinery when I was a kid. Barely knew his face. One of those men that is determined to get what he wants. God forbid you should stand in his way. Never did hit me for once when I was a little kid and I ate too much Flintstone vitamins. So tomorrow there's going to be a bright story to test my tolerance, exceed my capacities, get my car fixed, which will be good. I can make us more mics, have more fun, see more people. Thanks.
Hey, Scott. I wrote a poem about my father who died about a year and a half ago. Bring it up here on the old machine. Oh, hi. Thanks for coming. Let's be safe for the changes, you know. Better than to delete them, I suppose.
Yeah. Always do a save as.
Well, Kindle Fire work differently than some other devices. Red Man He walked North Africa. Did he know he was home? The continent cradle to humanity. Who cared about humanity? There was a war on. He walked Sicily and Italy and France and Germany. No time to see the sights. He walked too much, so he sat a lot when we walked Six Flags over Texas. In the Army yet, his pre-war duty almost done. Sergeant York flickered on screen when Pearl Harbor called, the nation already gearing for war. He made it through, though others did not. He did not, could not say all he saw. Daddy was Tom Sawyer, son to the barber of San Saba. No backwater that town, county seat of San Saba County. 2 younger sisters he would tease, and he would marry she with 2 younger brothers from a farm outside of Friendship. Better off each by a degree than most in the Great Depression. I knew him after war, making the best of struggle, milkman first, then auto mechanic for Humble, father of 2, my younger sister and me. He liked jazz, the Dixieland kind he'd heard from 1920s Victrolas. From racist roots himself, he used the N-word liberally. Hated them, he said. But Louis Armstrong was not an N-word. He was a musician, a genius. Satchmo was a god. Daddy was a man of belief who stayed home from church, save for Mother's Day, when he took Nanny there. He grew up among contentious Christian churches who said each other was going to hell. He washed his hands of them all, but for on Mother's Day. He was a smoker of cigarettes and a drinker of hot coffee throughout baking Texas days in an oven called a service station. No longer Humble, but Enco, then Exxon. He was boss to whites and blacks and browns, fair to all, though he wouldn't brag it to folks back home in San Saba. Daddy dropped cigarettes for pipes at 57, so he lived past 70, unlike his dad, Pappy, who looked 90 at 70, all pink in his Maplewood box, a skinny poop deck Pappy, often seen in white stubble and white strapped undershirt. He listened to radio baseball in the dark and ate big breakfast from good china, served by Nanny, herself impeccably dressed, as though for church every day of the week. No shrinking violet she, though, who taught Daddy black people are the children of Cain. Daddy was a red man, white really, white as cream, but red from the sun, red leather of face into a V-neck, then red from short sleeves down arms like red leather formal gloves. In a blue bathing suit, he was the flag. Red, white, and blue. Blue for the trunks and also for the blue veins. He did live past 70. Those coffin nails would have doomed him, but with pipe of cherry blend, he survived for decades. My mother and he fished the state all over well into their 80s. Slowing down, they moved from home to retirement facility in their mid-90s, with some there a generation younger. I wasn't there. I couldn't be there. Woulda, coulda, shoulda. When Daddy, back from a shower, collapsed in the arms of my brother-in-law. 95 he was. It was a good run. Thank you. Is David back?
He's inside.
He's still inside. Okay, well, we're at the top of the order with Tom.
So this one is for you and for you, because we're the only ones here.
Yes, there you go.
Okay. Shouldn't say that because the camera doesn't know.
Yeah,
You can see a million faces out there.
20,000 right?
Like the camera at Pease Park later.
Yeah, exactly. Yes,
Hundreds of people
That was the
dancing.
experience. That was it. Every day is different. My morning starts at night. I steal from the moon. Light, reflection, dreams, memories, reminders, thoughts, feelings, images, random they appear until dragooned into little lines like this. Staying to attention to command yours tonight. Every dream is different. Oceans of unwritten thought bubbles float away carelessly rich. Trickles of silver inspirations drip, uncaring, unseen. Unedited emotions range outside the frame of this cage of a page. Very few cats can be trained. Like ant circuses, it takes vision to see them. One or two will escape Earth's prosaic atmosphere to dwell in deeper silences. Here tonight I will visit as a pilgrim, to solicit your random wisdom. If I am lucky, you will listen, because the jury of my peers is a harsh judge and a hanging jury. I dare not fool with you. Some take this life very seriously indeed. With what time I can beg or borrow from tomorrow, I catch glimpses of antique clocks, darly melting fob watches, little digital clicks, baby chick yellow light inspirations, and a zoo of biodegradable curiosities. All of this is a hidden myth affair like my daily autobiography. Wait for chapter 2. You'll be in it. Wanting only to love universally, he embraced the whole wide world, including artificial colouring, flavouring and packaging. He loved paper and plastic equally well, loved the mall and all of her distracted shoppers, loved the superb markups and inflated prices, loved the shortages and profiteering, loved the impending water shortages in Austin. Love lost and less became thin as his page, saved by aspartame. His frame may now be judged as evidence of physical immortality, now that he is an art exhibit of Taco Maria's. Food colours, 6 and 9, artificially coloured, flavoured and preserved, on display in the freezer section of H-E-B. At your local South Congress super marker. I want to transfer an abandoned story. This one began with trust and happiness. You know the one I'm talking about. Well, trust got privatised and grew up into austerity, which led to job cuts, raiding of pension funds, Wolf of Wall Street scenarios. So happiness had to leave the 99% with 1% chance of joy, to join the elite or to lose all economic security. Hardcore. That's why this story has been abandoned for so long. No one wishes to address structural inequality, since few will admit there's anything wrong with this story. I just say, there's a world shortage of happiness. That's why we're here today. Supplies have been flown in for genuine relief laughter, old mouldy Monty Python reunions, but that was Beatles era. Before, comedy was privatised and became a corporate sponsor. Do you remember we used to laugh for no reason, just burst into tears of joy when the moment called for responding? Not Sid Barrett madcap laughter or cynical derision, snide put-downs, not even superficial sneers. It was a full-bellied, full-style, fat Buddha release. We'd laugh like this in good company in cafes and restaurants would actually welcome us. But these are terrified times, and fear and insecurity sneer at airports. Blue meanies in uniform assault passengers. No one laughed at Ostrom Bergstrom, it's so illegal. Yes, they banned laughing, especially about the absurdity of strip searches. So now we're smuggling laughter in whenever we can. Not canned hee-haws from black and white days or cruel jokes at someone else's expense. We're laughing at ourselves tonight, like Buster Keaton's Silent Defiance. We laugh at marathons like dancers until we drop exhausted at 9 o'clock. We laugh in and out of doors, fully realizing the chill consequences. Yes, these are serious times. The best we can do tonight is just laugh it all off.
Okay, David, are you ready to come up again? Our Benjamin Franklin doppelganger, David Lester Young.
Oh, the words we weave.
Yeah.
Poetic wildflower. Cerebral ceiling, sensual scattered seeds sprouting up vibrant verse vibrations. Aloft meadow, mellow sunshine sensations. A light Morse cue, reflected teardrop beads. Levitating dawn, germinating of light ray imagery, sailing livid, fluttering, poetic wildflower blossoms. Pink, sensual, gentle touch, warmth, rippling, awesome. Red velvet and satin, aesthetic, soft, sensual symphony. Heartbeat static in burgundy passion, steamy simulation. Pulsating minds, adrift wings, delicate yielding, want to press. Massaging love me not, bearing aroused delicacy. Melts oozing butterfly heartbeats flutter of poetic excitation. in poetic wildflower, feminine flower cultivation. Genuine gratis germination gratification. Poetry levitates mind with livid words, sound sensation. Adrift, rhythmic, rippling, vivid pulsation, penetration, wherein contrasting characters, cerebral verse, vibration, poets, personas resonate aloft, dynamic demonstration. Quill are a PowerPoint stage of celestial communication, shares elocution bearing rhyme, reverberation, inside core composition bearing blossoming beautification, in heartbeats harmony, vocals that alliterate enunciation. Poetry profound pronunciation creates literature's libation to sparkle senses in a visual vocabulary dance dissertation. We're in literature limericks onto free-form foundation. We showcase diversity, assimilation, in bouquet biotransformation. The unique universe, universal undulation of artistic aroused accompaniment, sensing satisfaction, where pure poets navigate pure power, creative creation, sown to sear and steer the woven weave, exultant excitation, genuine, gratis, germination, gratification. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thanks, David. Well, we have some fresh blood.
Fresh blood.
Cathy, Gelke.
I'm new to Austin. Really intrigued with this restaurant. Never been here, but
This is South Austin.
Austin. Awesome. And that's my son Sam. I write a lot, so I have a lot of, some of it's funny and some of it's, this was actually an experience from when my kids were little. That one included, it's called Purple Truck. Once upon an afternoon, the melty hottest time in June, from the SUV's back seats, 4 kids asked Mom to buy them treats. A gas station stop would be just dandy. Please stop for gas and let us buy candy. To their surprise, Mom did agree. She winked and 4 kids squealed with glee. Sure, I'll give you each $1 if you can spot a purple truck. They didn't whine or ask her why, but scanned the traffic passing by. On a mission, the funnest kind, the kids determined that truck to find. It's rolling. By some amazing kind of luck, the kids yelled, Mom, a purple truck. What are the odds? How could it be that a purple truck the kids would see?
Yeah.
And some 4 kids found what they sought. That purple truck meant candy bought. For months they didn't miss a beat. Each purple truck another treat. The more they looked, yes, they were there. Purple trucks were everywhere. The lesson of purple trucks galore, excuse me, I'm scrolling. The lesson of purple trucks galore, you'll find what you are looking for. Pull the wishes from your heart, defining your vision is the start. Then with your hopes and dreams expressed, watch to see them manifest. The secret is, when you're aware, you'll find your purple truck is there.
You can do a couple more if you like.
I'll read another.
Until your arm gets tired anyway.
This is another funny one. I have, at various times in my life, been on and off antidepressants. So this is called Bad Brain. What the heck? I'm not insane, but something's not right with my brain. It doesn't show. I have no stitches, no surgery, seizures, or nervous twitches. My chemistry's off. I'm mentally ill. I need the magic of just the right pill. It's really quite funny. I'm not loony or mad. I was just born with a brain that is bad. It can't be returned. I'm stuck with this head. So I'll just take pills and enjoy life instead. So I will read one more. This perplexing quest, how to invest energy, time, things of the heart, the legacy that we impart. Passive's the norm. Most do not think, they don't realize that their pen has ink. But they are writing every day the things their lives decide to say. Don't let your world and circumstance direct your steps, design your dance. You don't know the secret of what you command. You don't see that there is a brush in your hand. The palette of choices you make every day are brush strokes of color in brilliant array. Amazing the secret you don't seem to know is that you are the artist who paints as you go. Holding the paintbrush with options galore, your work is created each day you explore. No time to be passive, your lifetime will fly. The chance will be over, the paint will be dry. So bring out the palette and paint out your heart. Each day is the canvas and you are the art.
Nice. Cathy Gilkey, everyone. Very nice. Okay, this weather for Texas chili, I think. Gotta make a big pot of chili con carne. Some Texas chili for a very chilly Texas day. Sear ground beef or turkey or no meat at all. Add tomato paste and sauce, water, salt, cumin, oregano, minced onions, a scoop of chili powder, a little garlic powder, not forgetting a good measure of paprika. Later, a tablespoon of masa, maybe salsa, and what have you at hand from the fridge. Vinegar, pickle brine, refried and kidney beans, your favorite cheese grated, scallions chopped up. Let simmer in a crock pot for hours and stir often. Finally, garnish with shredded cheddar or Colby. Make it as spicy as you like or can stand. Ring with Texas-shaped tortilla chips afloat, or Colorado-shaped if you like rectangles. Cool some, freeze some, enjoy for a week. It tastes better with each successive meal. Do they like Chile in the nation of Chile? Or just sea bass? They might like it. Their flag looks like the Texas flag. And Chile gets chili. More than we would imagine. If they get chili, they should get chili. It will warm the cockles of their Chilean hearts. Thank you. Tom, the world poet.
When you mentioned all the moods, I thought emotional seasons. Festive seasons, suicides in shopping malls, homeless Santas, displaced elves, pacifists ringing bells for Salvation Army, counted by items sold, inventory moved. Nothing new in this new year. Old moods still hang like clouds of crowds, aloneness in solitary confinement. Those without families seek canned fluids or smoke their fires to self-sedation. News of weather, storms and floods, wars, recession, no one with jobs. Hopes are raised like that Times Square ball, which like the stock market will inevitably fall. No sense of celebration, no feeling at all. Think I'll kiss a stranger and feel appalled. Thank you very much. And now, about the Austin that you're about to experience, right? It's this is in Awesmic. We've moved from weird to Awesmic. Once upon a tie-dye, everybody wanted to be in South Austin as slacker or musician or poet. As they grew older, grayer, their colors changed. Revolutionary red, sometimes campaign pink. Black anarchy to black and white independent filmmaking. Austin now means gridlock, valet parking, condominiums, public facilities for private profit, festivals ad infinitum, creative culture morphed into consumerism, with only small independent individuals to make anew. And here we are, for you. We're all in love with little Austin. Want no plastic bags in her Lake Street. Wish hike and bike trail could be extended. Reclaim all our parks and gardens from imported for-profit festivals. We are residual communities. Recognize we have so much in common. Even if East Austin has been taken over, Bubbaland, South Austin no longer, West Austin can have their Trader Joe's, North Austin their ACC strip malls. Central Austin always costs too much. Only homeless can afford. We pay far too much for our police force. Wish all our libraries could be open. Reclaim our parks and gardens. Live in peace in Little Village, Austin. Welcome home.
Stay here.
That's Tom the World Poet and Scott Vanya, who will now regale you with his inimitable talents.
Along the lines, I've been taking notes all night, and just again,
Push this down.
Yeah, fix it. Thank you very much. I've been taking notes all night. When I was in college, I used to take notes all the time. And when I read books, I took notes, and all the corners of every book I ever had has notes in it. Because I think writing is a mnemonic. Once you write something, it helps you remember it. And one of the notes I wrote earlier was, I think it's so terribly funny that it's only when you realize you're stuck in a maze and the whole thing of life is one endless maze that you will never get out of, and you actually realize that you get out of it, and then you come back to it, but are you so much happier? I want to talk about, I don't know, the guitar tells me what to talk about. Hang on a second. I've heard dogs mentioned tonight, which is the first. There are about as many dogs mentioned tonight as there were cats, which is unusual. I'm a dog person. I'm the kind of person, and I know why I like dogs, sort of.
Why?
Well, because you can hug them and pat them and squeeze them and love them, and they never get tired of it. When I was a 1-year-old boy, I was given a stuffed animal. It was a mouse with big red ears and red overalls. He now sits 45 years later on the mantelpiece of my apartment. He has no ears, no more overalls. He has the original eye patches I put on him. The other day I was depressed, so my daughter got down Mouse and came and brought him to me so I'd have something to hug. I don't think it's any wonder why I love dogs. So, life being a maze, I'm just amazed that Cat Stevens is so right. Every door you turn opens in. And you're right, we are artists, and we are painting our whole world together. And it's our job just to keep doing it. I love being a poet. I can't tell anymore. If I was ever married, because it might have been the whole darn time, the only thing I loved about my wife was her poetry.
I broke it.
He's got
Didn't break it.
That one's definitely got an issue on it.
Oh, black and white.
Wow. No, it was wobbly.
It is a rough one. Okay, thank you, Scott Vanya. Well, we're about at the bottom of the evening. We have time once more for David Lester Young and for Cathy Fiske right after that. And then I will ask, as always, Tom the World Poet to sum up the evening for us. So now it's time again for that Benjamin Franklin doppelganger, David Lester Young.
Oh, yeah.
Did you set up a trap here for me?
Yes.
Careful. Trust.
I better not touch it.
She said.
This goes with the poem, Tightening the Bond. Power transforms into cyclic life, electrical source transforms into outlet, supplying amperage to voltage devices. Life has many transformers, wherein God supplies the nucleus, where we have to tighten the bond, that within our poetic heartbeats, things will weather over abrasive time, wherein connections become loose, that we take the time within us by tightening the bond. That in prayers we are tightening the bond, that in our faith we are tightening the bond, that in compassion we are tightening the bond, that in universal we are tightening the bond, that in our poetry we are tightening the bond, where our poets' words do transform within poetry's creative transformations, upon transformational grammar literature, bearing transfusion bonding composition, that in our poetry we are tightening the bond.
Release the bond.
Vibrating tracks, NyQuil. Silent night stillness of complacency, melancholy, pensive mood, contemplation. Subtle vibration did deposit depositions in soundtracks of railroad compositions. Surrounding areas did quake a cerebral solution, as a train of thoughts wrote upon subtle resolution. Within mind steering adrift cerebral meditation, where celestial spirits do create poetic reflections. Upon instincts that lay down tracks of poetry, rippling chills upon vibrating tracks, NyQuil. Thank you.
Thank you, David. And he supplied us with these wireless microphones.
Yeah.
Once again, is it falling apart? It is falling apart? Oh, go ahead.
I just thought this is something.
Okay, go ahead.
Is this on?
Yes. Go ahead and use that. Cathy Gilkey. Is it not working? Okay, try this one then.
For a season, I'm a teacher, but I did a part-time job, floral job at a grocery store. And even though I was floral, I still had requests for, maybe a vase or something. Anyway, and the customers always would say, "Can you check in the back?" So sometimes even when I knew we didn't have it, I would just go.
Yes, ma'am.
So this is called the mysterious back of the grocery store. The mysterious back of the grocery store, where they hide the stuff you're looking for. You're surely not out. Go check in the back. There must be more in a box or a stack. But sometimes they are really out, and you go home and do it out. The mysterious back of the grocery store has cantaloupe peelings on the floor. Nasty rose fragrance disguising trash odor, the loud low idle of delivery truck motors. Boxes stacked high on steel shelves all around, box cutters, six-wheelers, or glyphs abound. The smell of bread baking and cookies and sweets, bloody scraps in the trash from fresh cut meat. The mysterious back of the grocery store. Yes, there is back stock, but there's so much more. And I'll just end with this one. This one is called My Secret Self. My secret self that no one sees is empty, tired, on her knees. God knows the self I tuck away, inadequacies I hide each day. Strong and amazing I must appear, so I zip up my heart and leak no fear. But when I'm at home and my heart is in sweats, exposed are my anxious thoughts and threats. And And today, exhausted from the strife, I had to stop and look at life. Secret self, who said to you, you have to be perfect, you can't be you? What if it's okay to be the mess I must admit is me? Embracing with honesty all I feel is my truest self and what is real. On the couch, I'm putting me, and my own therapist I will be. My secret self I must release. Imperfect me finds way more peace. In fact, this is what I am guessing. My flaws might be my biggest blessing. The weaknesses I clearly see might just uniquely qualify me to share my scars with ones who ache. So masquerading, they'll forsake. Endearingly, their flaws confess, so God can heal their honest mess. With grateful joy, I bear my heart, amazed how God fashions it into art.
Beautiful.
Thank you, Cathy. Thank you for coming. I'm going to call up Tom in just a minute, but I'm going to wrap it up first because looks like we're running out of video here.
Yeah, wrap it up quick.
So, anyway, I would like to thank Maria's Taco Express, yay, and Oscar for setting this up, David Lester Young for providing the wireless microphones, and all the poets who came tonight. There were other poets earlier, they just left early. And now, to sum it all up, Sir Thomas Woodruff.
First, there's the myth of aloneness, the myth that you're unique. Everyone's unique, but no one's alone. You see, we're breathing the same air. Trust her, she said there were poets here before there were, but it got cool, it got chill. We need warm poets. We need more poets. We need people to open the doors of their hearts and say, hey, I'm just me, but that's a start. Perfection can wait for the next lifetime. While we're here in human skin, I guess we're all learning and dreaming, you see. It's an adventuring, exploring. But it's hard to do it by yourself. You really got to find someone else who can echo back to you. Am I right or am I wrong? Is it a poem or is it a song? Do you think I should sing along with myself, my multiple selves? Or should we just be doppelgangers of each other? You know, that little reflection of the best of each other. Well, all rhythm has it every Tuesday, apart from first Tuesday, which is bingo, of course, from 6 to 9 here. Awesmic, combination of awesome and cosmic, becomes a new Austin. Little independent republic of South Austin. And when you look around you and all the weirdness that is true, you realize a reflection of another part of you. You won't find this in North Austin. You won't find this in Dallas. You won't find this in Houston, not even in San Antonio. But once a week we come out and speak. We come out and listen. And the difference is a mirror to a mirror stand which echoes infinities. You put a mirror to a mirror and suddenly endless dimensions present themselves. You may laugh, call just 2 4-letter words open mic, but this is our art, they say, and this is our life. Thank you for being here.
Thank you, Tom. Thank you, Scott. Thank you, poets. Thank you, Maria's Taco Express. We'll see you next week.